morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to week 3 of the B3 Lockdown Club. I'm joined by our league coach, Eddie Burke. Good morning, Eddie.
Brothers, how are you? It's come around quick again.
It has indeed. And it's been quite a harsh week here in the UK weather-wise, but we managed to get some great stuff done. Yeah,
the Facebook page shows a lot of people have been getting either out in between snow showers or doing some bits in the house as well. So it's been interesting, but people are doing it, aren't they? They're having a go.
That's all we want. If you love the game, keep working at it. It's going to pay dividends. And the stuff we did with Paul Johnson down at B3, we're going to have a look at that later. But he spoke about the basics of how to play spin bowling, which is very current at the minute because, you know, the England team have been playing spin bowling very well in India. So without further ado, I spoke to Chris Reed, who's in the England camp as a wicket-keeping coach a couple of days ago. Let's have a look at what he had to say. Hi, Chris. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Thanks, brothers. Enjoying the weather. Bit colder back home, I understand.
It is, although as you can probably see through the window at the back of me, it's a sunny day today, but it's been very cold. Yes, so it seems a long way from April, May cricket in many ways. What's it like over there? I mean, presumably you're in a very tight, secure bubble, and you're just having to stay like that, I suppose.
Yeah, I think the rules are pretty clear now, and this sort of thing's been going on around the world in world sport now since the summer, really. I think English cricket was the first to get to trial the sort of bubble and get back to playing professional sport. So obviously since then, sport has been continuing around the world in various different guises, and the sort of the bubble system is been pretty secure, particularly in cricket anyway. So we're confined to the hotel, bus to the ground area. The areas in the ground are defined where you can and can't go. The Indians are staying on one floor, we're staying on another floor. All the staff are part of the bubble, the staff in the hotel, so they have to stay on site. They can't go home either. It's you have to do what you can really to ensure that the security from a COVID point of view, and everything is being done that can be.
Yeah, no, of course. Over here, the lockdown club is going extremely well, and your wicket keeping drills were released last week in week 2, and I've had some fantastic feedback from lots of keepers, young, old, in between. Male, female. So thanks for doing those before you had to shoot off.
Oh, pleasure. No, I'm just really pleased that it's the lockdown club's going so well. It's obviously not easy for anyone right now, not being able to access the sporting opportunities that they would normally have, and obviously with the build up to the cricket season would normally be in full swing, and lots of indoor sessions going on that can't go on. So any way that people can keep active, and also try and have half an eye on the upcoming season and work on some skills and learn some new drills, I think is obviously great for them. Yeah,
no, absolutely. So back to the test then. I mean, what an achievement that was to win that first test in India. It must have been amazing to be involved with it.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic achievement. I think we were under no illusions as to how hard this tour was going to be and is going to be, given India's record in home test matches in the past 5 years, but going back a long time, they've been dominant in the home country. So I think you can look back and almost say it was close to the perfect test match. Winning the toss was obviously a crucial part of that, but when you win the toss, you have to make that count, and to bat the way that we did, having won the toss against their attack in home conditions on a good pitch, no doubt. But fantastic, and Joe Root, I mean, in his 100th test, what form he's in, it's quite remarkable, really. Double 100, big 100, followed by another double 100 here in India, and he really set the game up. But even going into the last day, you thought that the win was on the cards. Looking at how the pitch had deteriorated over the 5 days, you would anticipate that that 9 wickets. I think that England were favourite to win going into the last day. 9 wickets was very achievable, but to wrap it up sort of an hour into the second session was. I don't think anyone really believed that was going to happen. I thought, but the skill of Jimmy Anderson, I think, really cracked that open to bowl with such control. With that reverse swing there, and it really cracked open the Indian middle order and allowed us to really attack them as we did.
It was amazing. I mean, I think a lot like most cricket fans over here, I'm on Indian time now anyway, so I wake up daily now at 5 to 4. So I saw that incredible over. It was brilliant, and like you say, Root. I mean, amazing. To do that, a double 100 in his 100th test, that vein of form he's in is remarkable. In all your years, I mean, you've played with some and against some fantastic players. Have you ever seen a batsman up close and personal in that sort of form?
I don't think I have, and certainly not in the conditions he's doing it in. I think obviously a fantastic player in all conditions, but arguably the best batsman, the best player of spin that potentially in world cricket, which coming from England, where we see a little bit, but not as much as maybe you do in a subcontinent. I think if you look at his record in subcontinental conditions against spin, it surpasses pretty much everyone playing at the minute. So, just in complete control of his own game at the moment, and just watching him, watching that control, but also, look at the sort of physical and mental demands of what it takes to be out there in 30-degree heat for, 350 balls or whatever it is, without really making an error. It's, fantastic achievement.
The commentators were talking about that constantly. I mean, we all remember Alistair Cook never seemed to break sweat. Now, but Root looks as though it tells on him, but not much. I mean, 4 or 5 hours he batted, and remarkable really. That was nice to see Virat Kohli when he got cramp go and help him. That was a nice sporting gesture, I thought.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you look at the two teams, and obviously there's a huge amount of competitive. It's a very competitive series, and you want to get the better of your teammate and your opposition, but also a lot of these players these days are playing against each other quite regularly, and obviously not only just international games, but in sort of leagues around the world. And Joe Root and Virat Kohli, two of the best players and best batsmen in the world currently, but also having played in with and against each other for a long time now. So. Absolutely. Not a nice touch for Virat to help. I don't know if he gave any words of encouragement at the time. Well, he probably wanted rid of him.
But that's nice to see. You can. I mean, you're involved at Repton School in Derbyshire, and you can teach people to be hard, tough cricketers, but you don't have to be unsporting, do you? You can still be a sportsman with that.
Oh, for sure. It's the two things aren't mutually exclusive. You can play hard and still be, still be a good person on the field and on and off the field. So everyone has different ways and means of going about their cricket. But at the end of the day, it's a game that we're playing, and we're all playing it for the same reason, that we love what we're doing, and. As much as you want to get one over on your opposition, at the same time, it's you're going to make friends for life potentially in the sport. So making enemies was certainly not on my agenda while I was out on the cricket pitch.
So we've been doing some, talking about spin. We've been doing some stuff with your old colleague at Notts, Paul Johnson. Jono's been doing some spin stuff with us, some really useful stuff. And so we've got that this week. We're moving on as well in terms of some of the shots that we're playing. We've looked at the basics. But all of the coaches we've spoke to so far have talked about the basics and getting those right, and the constant reiteration of those, even at the top level.
You only have to look at the England team and their recent success in the subcontinent. By recent, I mean over the last few years, not just in the last couple of months, to see the development in what we know as coaches and how that's getting delivered to, yes, the elite players, but also hopefully filtering down through to the grassroots in how we play spin bowling, how the best batters go about doing that. So, for me, it's about picking length first and foremost, and then reacting to that length, and not trying to get caught too often in between playing a front foot shot and a back foot shot. So, I think one of the great graphics that you see on the TV these days is that interception points or contact points of the batsman. And if you look closely, the best players, there'll always be a gap, so you can clearly work out where they've played on the front foot and where they've played on the back foot. So they're trying to get as close to the ball and negate any spin on the front foot. But if they can get back, it creates a hell of a lot of time to be able to maybe defend the ball, but also cut, pull, whatever it might be. What you don't want is to get caught on the crease too often and be caught in that sort of middle ground.
On to the keepers. You're working with two keepers out there, I think, Josh Butler and Ben Folkes.
Three actually. We've got there's James Bracey as well, who's part of the wider squad, and he's a young batter keeper from Gloucestershire, who's been in and around the squad now for a little while, and will provide sort of cover for wicket keeping and batting. So he's there as well, and obviously Josh, who has actually now gone home. So he's played the first test and obviously the two tests in Sri Lanka, done fantastically well. I think that his wicket keeping was probably the best I've seen him keep over the period of the last couple of months in the subcontinent. But he's also obviously had a big impact with the bat. And Ben Folkes will almost certainly come in for this test match, and potentially the rest of the series. Who is widely regarded as one of the best glovemen, certainly in England, but potentially in the world as well. So I'm really excited to see how he goes about his business up close and personal in the subcontinent. Okay,
brilliant. And from a coach's perspective, are you working on any technical stuff, or is it just rhythm and reaction, the kind of things we shot at Repton before Christmas? How do you approach it, or is everyone different?
Of course, everyone's different, and there's a different approach that I have with Josh that I do with Ben. You treat everyone as an individual. Plus, they're at different stages in their careers, and also different stages in where they are on this tour. So, someone like Josh Butler has obviously played a lot of cricket in the summer, and then has been playing franchise cricket in the IPL, that sort of thing. Ben Folkes, very limited opportunities to actually play. So he's been around the squad, the England squad, for a long time. And certainly if you look at the lockdown series of last summer, he was in pretty much all of those against West Indies and Pakistan. Didn't play, would have gone back and played for Surrey at the back end of the season. And then he's been away with England, but not playing in the past few months. So, with Josh, I obviously came into this India series, and he was in an exceptionally good place. And so for him, it was just keeping him in that good place, which was just facilitating what he needed really to prepare for a test match. Having come off two test matches back to back in Sri Lanka, Ben Folkes slightly different because he hasn't played, and it's quite a mental challenge as well as anything to be told. Having not played much cricket, you're going to play against India in the second test in Chennai. So for him, it's just making sure he's ready, he's prepared, that he's got his processes in place, but also reassuring him that he's ready to perform at the highest level.
The backroom staff, what's the dynamic there? You enjoying that?
Yeah, very much so. As with anything, the way that coaching has gone in many sports, there There seem to be a hell of a lot more coaches than there were when I was playing the game or playing for England back in the sort of early 2000s. So it's essentially, you're trying to cover all the bases you can to make sure that everyone has the best chance of performing the best of their abilities. And it's really nice to work with some people that I played against and competed against over the last sort of couple of decades. So Jeetan Patel is working with the spinners, John Lewis with the seamers at the minute, as well as obviously the full-time coaches.
Brilliant. Are you there for the entire tour?
I'm here for the test series, yes.
Okay.
And then go home. So I don't do the white ball leg of the tour, but here for 4 test matches, 2 in Chennai. So we start again the second test on Saturday, and 2 in Ahmedabad, one of which is a day-night game, the third test.
Okay. Really appreciate you taking the time out to join us and talk to us about life on tour and what's happening over there in India, Chris.
Pleasure, brothers. Anytime.
Yeah, and you stay safe and make sure they win the series.
Well, I would do my best to facilitate that. Although I think there's going to be some challenging times ahead. But they certainly have got off to the best possible start.
Look at how they were under the cosh against Australia and then turned that series around. So I'm sure nobody's resting on the laurels. They're a bunch of fighters, aren't they? And extremely talented as well. So it gives us something to do over here. I'm really looking forward to it.
Good stuff. Yeah, no, there's a heck of a lot of quality in that team, obviously across both sides. I think it'd be very naive, I don't think for anyone to think that they won't come back strongly in the next game. All we can do is make sure that we're ready and prepared as best we can.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Chris.
Pleasure, brothers. Take care.
You've got Reedy right in the hot seat there, haven't you? Right in the mix of it, in a brilliant environment, right in the with the backroom staff and with the England squad, coming out the back of a great victory there. Really interesting from a coach's point of view to listen, I should say, to how he deals with different people. He treats people as individuals, which is a great element of coaching in general. Doesn't generalise, keeps it separate to the certain individuals. I think there's some real nuggets there for coaches who are listening in, and really, looking forward to catching up with him again, maybe in a couple of weeks' time when we've got some more fixtures through with England v India, and to see how he's progressing with the players he's working with. Really lucky, aren't we? Spoilt to be in the position we're in to have a coach like that, like working not only with England but working with us as well.
Yeah, and another guy I had to catch up with was our pace bowling guru, and that was Steve Kirby. And a very different character, a different cricket journey, really relevant for any young player out there, who's thinking of aspiring to, making a professional cricketer. But anybody in any walk of life doing anything. The way he's sort of handled things and gone forward. Let's have a look at him. Welcome to the B3 Lockdown Club, Steve Kirby, who's going to help us with pace and fast bowling. How are you, Steve?
Yeah, top class, Blathers. Top class. Back into quite a bit of training at the minute. Obviously, this lockdown's been quite hard work for everybody, not just the players. But we've been able to keep in sort of these elite bubbles, as it were. I just hope it all goes away pretty soon and we get back to normal, mate. Really.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. And what we're trying to do is obviously help those who are less fortunate than elite bubbles. Yeah. Your club cricketer, your young cricketers in particularly are missing some massive development in their formative years. And what we're here to try and help them with, I suppose, is there is stuff they can do, isn't there?
There certainly is. There certainly is at all levels. And it's ironic, really, because it don't matter whether I'm dealing with a first team player or even if I'm dealing with a young lad coming, under 12 or under 11 coming through the pathway. The same principles as a bowling coach is something that I follow all the way through. So it don't matter what age you are. Yeah, absolutely. you've just got to have, I mean, basically the best players have the best basics, mate.
Superb. And you obviously had a great career, but it wasn't easy. It stopped and started. I mean, you started at Leicestershire as a YTS, which for the younger members of the audience is like the academy back then.
Oh yeah. 25 quid a week I was on. 25 quid a week.
£5 a week.
25 quid a week.
£25 a week, the old YTS.
Yeah, it was. It was on the old 3A scheme. And then, yeah, I was 6, just turned 17 when I moved away from home. Moved down to Leicestershire, and Jack Burke helped me big time. And then probably by the time I was just about 18, I signed my first professional contract.
But then injury sort of scuppered that for a bit.
It did. And actually, it's really helped my coaching career moving on. I mean, it was quite a big thing to swallow at the time. At an 18-year-old, well, I was just 19 at the time, actually, when I had a really big side-on action. Used to close myself off with my front leg, get right round, if you like, in a side-on way. And my body physically and my action physically couldn't actually cope with that. And I had a lot of problems with my lower back. I had a big, well, I won't go into the details of it, but I had to go through a bit of an operation, a huge rehab program. I had to change my action from being really side-on, closing myself off, to really front-on, which was quite a big change. It was something that Jack Birkinshaw hugely helped me with. I was running around the ground, lap after lap after lap, trying to understand how my back foot was going to land, because it's really hard to change your back foot from side-on, closed off, to landing sort of more midway in a front-on action, and understand the mechanics of that, and understand how you're able to, hopefully keep the same pace, which is what I was able to do. And actually, when Leicestershire actually said to me at the time, if you get back bowling quick in that year that you come back from your, this injury, if you get back bowling quick by August, we'll definitely offer you another contract. And I did. I was back bowling quick. Played against India, all of them, Dravid, Tendulkar, the lot, bowled really well. And then they released me in October. It was quite a big thing mentally to deal with, because I'd got myself back physically. And if I'm honest with you, at the time, it was a massive big pill to swallow, being released. But I mean, at that time, I don't think I was physically or mentally strong enough to be a professional cricketer. And then, although it was the worst thing that ever happened to me at the time, it's probably the best thing that ever happened to me, because it showed me exactly the desire, the hunger that was needed to go on. You
did have that desire and that hunger, and at the age of 24, Steve Oldham at Yorkshire gave you a second chance, which was brilliant.
Yeah. Oh gosh. I think I was about 22, actually, 24. But I mean, I might have looked at 26, 34, maybe.
I'm still in Wikipedia.
I don't know. I think I was 22, but gosh, I was selling floors at the time for a family company, a company called Westcoats Flooring, and he was my father-in-law's sort of nephew, Carl, and God, it was quite. You can imagine selling floors, and all I really wanted to do was still be a professional cricketer, and so I would work 8 in the morning till 6 at night, and then I'd get in the gym, get fit, get strong. I went off, moved away from Kibble Cricket Club in Leicestershire, went back up to Lancashire to play in the Ribblesdale League, bowling 25 overs unchanged from one end, which taught me a lot. And ironically, I was given, I'd got no holiday left whatsoever, Blathers. No holiday left whatsoever. And I'd played a bit of second team cricket with Yorkshire, done well, took a few wickets. But then Steve Oldham rang me up and he went, here, Curbs, we need you to play tomorrow, lad. And I said, so I don't know, I can't, I've got no holiday left, Oh, he said, that's a shame. He said, might have to ask someone else. He said, you sure you don't want to play in the first team tomorrow? I was like, you're joking, aren't you?
Yeah,
and then he ended up, I said, what, first thing? I said, I don't know how that's happening. I said, you know, you've already started the game, haven't you? There were day 2 of a game against Kent, and Oggy had been called up to England to play against Pakistan, I think. And they were able to, which now happens quite regularly, but was quite unbeknown at that time, just bring in a replacement in the middle of a first-class game. So I said, leave it with me. I said, I just need to go and ask my boss. So I dropped the phone. So I'll ring you back in 2 minutes. I went downstairs, and I remember the conversation with Carl, and Carl said, under no circumstances are you going to have any more time. He said, you've got to make a decision now. You're either going to play cricket or you're going to sell floors. And I was like, well, I said, it's the first team, Carl, and they got a game against Kent. And he's like, what? I said, honestly, he said, right, leave it with me. He said, I'm going to drive you up the motorway. And he did. He drove me up the motorway, stopped in the Wheatwood Hall Hotel, packed all my stuff up. Well, I did. I rang Gesso back and said, I'm playing, obviously, first. And never looked back, mate. Yeah.
Fantastic. And, I mean, the key thing there is that all that hard work you had to do to get back, if players put the work in now, that they're going to feel the benefits when the season starts, whenever that is. If we just sat on the sofa, played Xbox, did nothing, the game's going to suffer, and more importantly, your body might suffer.
Oh, definitely. And there's always something you can do in the back garden. You know, there's always something you can do up against the side of the house. Paint some stumps on the wall with some chalk, or put yourself down a little train track, run through the train track. And I mean, we'll go through some drills in a bit and some games that we can go through. But ultimately, if you have a deep love and a deep desire for the game, and you're always looking to get better, that's the only thing I ever look for now as a coach, is whether they've got that deep underlying love for the game and whether they want to be better than they were the day before. Now, I know it's tough in lockdown. How can you be better than you were the day before? Keep watching the test match, keep watching the ODIs and the T20s, you know, keep trying to learn all the time, you know, and then it'll just make you even more hungry when you do actually get an opportunity to get out there and play. But don't just be out there cold, being trying to stay on top of your basics, both with bat and with ball, is going to hold you in good stead.
Perfect. Listen, mate, I know you've got a busy evening. Really appreciate your involvement. There's going to be a lot of club players and club coaches indebted to you. So thanks very much for your generous support of this project. No,
it's an absolute pleasure, Blathers. I think it's fantastic, and any which way that any of us can help out at these difficult times is fine. So, yeah, anytime you need, mate.
Top man. Talk soon. Great chat with Curbs. What do you make of his cricket journey, Eddie?
Yeah, Curbs is a great character, full stop, and so passionate about the game. He's passionate, you know, not just about the game, but coaching and working with people now is second to none. We talk about a rocky road, really, and if you read any sporting autobiography or biography, very, very, very rarely do people get from starting in a sport to the top, to sort of being podium or champions in any sport. And Curbs, really, his journey epitomises what we call the rocky road. And we're going to put something together on that to deliver for younger players and parents, and put it out in a presentation or a workshop, or maybe a PDF just for people to read. Yeah. Because it isn't smooth all the way. You know, you have to show a lot of resilience, and you've got to have that desire to really want to do it and want to succeed. Sometimes you have to go 2 steps backwards before you can get 1 step forward. So it really just shows perseverance, sometimes an element of luck. You know, you can't underestimate that in sport as well. But the Curbs just underpins the desire to succeed, really. It's just within him, and if people can learn from stories like that and individuals like that, I think it can only be a real helpful thing.
Talking of characters, let's go over to Hena in Derbyshire and see what Andy Brown's got to say, see what he's been up to, and we're going to review. We've had lots of videos sent in great. This week, mainly through the Facebook group. So if you're not on the Facebook group and you do that kind of thing, put them on there. If you prefer to email them in direct to me already, then teamb3@b3cricket.com is the email address, and we'd love to see what you're up to. But yeah, let's go over and see what Brownie's like and what kind of mood he's in.
Sure.
Mr. Brown, how are you today?
Very well, Michael. Very well indeed.
Good week?
Yeah, busy week as usual. When you're in lockdown and you're catching up on all these TV programs you don't have time in the summer.
So this week we've got some new drills added to the lockdown club. We did some great work on spin bowling with Jono earlier in the week. Any thoughts on how we apply that, Brownie?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a very, very basic drill which you can do anywhere in your house. You can, you can substitute the tennis ball for a foam ball. He brought the football out again. So all those little drills which everybody can do, but then harping back to these are the basics of the shot. This is how you form your sweep shot within a drill, which can be fun. And you can set yourself targets. And the one, he did when he did the orthodox sweep, where he was focusing on hitting it into the floor before the wall. Is a real challenge for some players. Some young players in particular. So making sure that they get on top of the ball rather than just going straight across the line of it, actually coming down on the ball. So if we are sweeping, we're making sure we're coming down on top of it if we're doing that sweep along the floor. So no, fantastic.
And I really like the tennis racket because it does exaggerate the angle of the face, doesn't it?
You see the angle, don't you? You see the angle. Whereas with the cricket bat, sometimes, you're so quick at getting your hands through. But with the tennis racket, you can see that head, that racket head and the angle it's coming at, which, as you say, really exaggerates what we're after.
Eddie?
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree. And again, we're trying to use equipment or things things that people will have. The cricket bat is obviously your tool to bat with, but if we've got a tennis racket knocking around and we can start to see, it gives you feedback in a different way. And when we talk about angles, it exaggerates it and things like that. So it's a real assist. We've done some drills with boxing gloves and elements like that to help with balance and power and movement and transference of weight. And using the tennis racket is just another extension of something else that can help us.
Okay.
Sorry, Michael. I think that's one of the things that has come within coaching in the last sort of 10, 15 years is actually we don't have to have a bat and a ball and a bowling machine to physically develop a skill. Let's actually break that skill down, that movement pattern down. You said with the boxing gloves, driving that back leg, developing power through your whole body. The tennis racket, again, that movement is not exactly how you would play the sweep shot, but the movement and the reaction you get from a ball, and you interpret information, greatly when you see what the ball does. And it's magnified by that because you can, yes, your hands are working nicely, but you see what the ball does and say, oh, actually, yeah, I can see it. Rather than just, well, I hit it and I hit it well, but how did I do it? I haven't got a clue, so I can't do it again.
And we managed to use Eddie's favourite prop, the football. So, if you're, no, but seriously, if you are in a tight space, I like it. If you are in a, very on cue that. But if you're in a tight space and you don't want tennis balls flying all over the place, the football is a great, and you get that resistance feel as well, don't you?
Yeah. You do. The big thing with the football for me is a little bit of resistance, but it's the height. It's specific to the height of the ball that we were talking about for driving, for sweeping. It's a real assist, and we've used it with bowling as well. Even just doing throw-ins with the ball, it can help with front foot contact and having a braced front leg. So there's lots of things which we'll share with people as we move throughout the weeks, and with masterclasses, etc. Which, like exactly what Brown is saying, it helps with movement patterns. It's a different stimulus, it's different feel for people, but ultimately their body will end up doing what we need for cricket, maybe through a different means. So fellas, Jono in the week, he put a grid down to help with picking length. We've put a a drill out previously, or if we haven't, we're going to put another one out to match it, to help people pick length. And this is something that Reedy talked about. You know, Joe Root's innings recently, he really marked that he got either right forward or pushed right back. There was no in the middle grey area kind of shots, or if there were very few. So when Jono talks about visually putting things down, again, Brownie, it gives us that feedback, doesn't it, of exactly where we need to go to and why. So using those visual aids can be really, really helpful. And to back up what Reedy said, if it's being done at the top level, why would we not want it to come down through into areas like the lockdown club and spread wider? Yeah, so Jono described that, the need to sort of, you know, either get right forward or get right back and stay out of that grey area of not being sure where to, you know, which way to go, or getting stranded on the front foot. We talked about, or Jono talked about youngsters planting on the front foot, then having to put their hands higher when really they should have gone back and their hands would appear slightly lower. I think with bowlers, it's slightly different, isn't it, Brownie, when we talk about what's a good length for bowlers? You know, we probably both use the top of off stump, for example, really for seam bowlers especially. And that would be the end result. That's the outcome we're looking to hit. But actually, when we work with people of different sizes who are letting the ball go from all different positions, and again on different length pitches, a good length changes all the time. Changes all the time, doesn't it? But the outcomes of what we're trying to achieve, they stay the same. Top of off stump is top of off stump on any pitch. But actually, it might be a hard, fast, bouncy track, or it might be a low, slow track. So actually, where you have to land the ball to get that outcome can differ.
It varies massively, mate. You know, it's, you know, you think back to when I played, and you either played at Derby or you played at Chester when you played at home, and how you played on those two pitches, very different, you know, massively. It was huge. Chesterfield bounced, so the length you could get forward to was a lot fuller.
Yes.
You know, Derby, because it was slow and low, the length you got forward to was a lot shorter.
Yeah.
You know, because you could ride the bounce, you know, and you get some tracks which are skiddy, which you can get your hands above and get your hands through a lot easier than those that bounce a little bit. So pitches and how you play, and that's where the skill of the batsman comes, is reading that pitch early.
Yeah. Shall we have a look at some of the pitches that people have put together at home?
Yeah, there's some interesting ones. Great imagination. So yeah, let's have a look. So first up, somebody from your club, Otbrook and Borrowash, Emma Thatch, and then we're going to have a look at her sister. So Emma's left arm.
Yeah, nice that, isn't it? You know, again, you could say, well, she's only got those little paving slabs, but actually it challenges us as well, because she's got to hop and stay on those and go in a straight line, which, you know, we talked last week about the edge of the mat and being a visual cue. I mean, a similar sort of thing here, where she's hopping, she's staying strong, she's conditioning that back leg as well. So all those little things that we want to be doing at this time of year, and also focusing on that, finishing that action and bowling that ball and following through at the target. All those boxes that we want ticking. Absolutely fantastic. It is.
Let's have a look at her sister, Jess. She's right arm. Are they twins, or one's younger than the other?
There's 3 or 4 years in between them. But
all right, okay.
Yeah. And obviously Jess has gone back to just the basic on the back leg, holding that position and then following through. So this is obviously the one a little bit before Emma's drill, where you're just holding that shape. You know, Jess has done a lot of work on her load position. So this enhances her readdressing her load.
Yeah.
Getting aligned, ready to go, and then bringing it straight down, so she can stay upright, so there's no lateral flexion or movement, bend to the left-hand side for her. So really going through the perfect action which she's looking to take forward. And as she puts more momentum into it, these little drills that she's doing, you know, time and time again, obviously the teaching the body to move in that manner again. So as we get further down the line towards the season, those little boxes have been ticked, and she's done all that groundwork, retraining the body to move in that manner again. Brilliant.
Just one thing on that one. Could she follow through with a bit more vigour, Brownie, or are you happy with that?
yes, I'd like to see, you know, obviously she's going from stationary, you know, and she's getting her arms through. You know, you could say, well, could she drive through a bit more?
Yeah.
Well, this might have been the video from the very first start, when
of course.
started it. So, you know, I mean, she is bowling it. Could she probably put a bit more? Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly, but she's getting all those basics, you know, the load for her, you know, obviously I've worked with her, but the load for her is key.
Okay.
She gets that right. That's the bit that she personally needs to work on. As I say, I know her. So, you know, for me, that is great for what she's doing. Absolutely brilliant.
A little one to help people moving forward if they want to get some real clarity in what we call the analysis, using video analysis here. For bowlers, if you can get film from the side and the side where the ball is, that really helps. But also, imagine if the camera was much straighter behind her. You can coaches can help see straighter lines much clearer, and it can help give, you know.
So direct behind the bowler as opposed to at mid on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's move on to somebody else.
Yeah. So this is Jacob and Emily. They're from West Bridgford Cricket Club. They work together here on these drills in their driveway. So Emily here's just doing a simple retrieve drill. Well, she hit the stumps on the last one by the look of it. Not running that far, so she can repeat this quite a lot. But ultimately, it's getting the ball up quickly over a short distance for that run out. I suppose really covers here or square leg. The ball's just gone past you a little bit, and there's a chance of a run out. Brownie, any sort of feedback quickly on this one?
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned about in the last shot of Jess, you know, I'm saying, could she follow through a little bit more? Now, if you just look at that right leg, see how it kicks out to the right-hand side. So it comes around.
Yes.
There, where she finished there.
Yeah.
Okay, so that suggests to me there's a little bit of a rotational force there. You know, and with throwing, it's similar to bowling. You're looking to get a linear force. So everything's driving through to the target. Yeah. So you're looking to line up there and then drive through. So really getting that right hip through. But again, without being perfectly behind, you know, you can't really see exactly has that left foot got across it a little bit? Has she got her arm back perfectly in the right position? You know, does she drive this front arm through at the target? But if you're throwing it, you know, finish that throw off as well as the bowling, what we talked about. Finish that throw off and drive at the top. I talk to, you know, our guys about when they throw to drive that right hip through at your target if you're a right arm thrower. So it's all coming through straight at that target. The intensity of the drill, brilliant, you know, and, you know, it's getting there. Then once you get there, these drills are all about, let's get it as close to perfect as we can, you know. So great that we put in all the time in and energy, and it's brilliant that we're getting all these videos in. But then when we do it, let's just think about, you know, what we've talked about, what the videos that are on YouTube with all the stuff that we've got, and just refer back to that and say, right, what do I look like compared to that? Yeah, I'm pretty close. Right, okay, that's what I'm going to work on and make sure it's right. And like Eddie was saying about the video, just getting somebody to video you a couple, because she might be unaware of that. You know, me with video analysis, players sometimes, and it's not a change, it's an awareness of what people do. So you'll video and they don't know.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden you say, well, actually, I didn't know I did that. So it's not a change, it's just they're aware of something. I didn't know I didn't drive my right leg through. She's unaware. She's focused on throwing that ball.
Yes.
You know, so it's an awareness. You can notice that right leg. So now we've said it and brought it up. Next time she does this, she'll be focused on driving that right leg through. And it's nothing technical. It's just an emphasis of finishing that throw off, using all your body to throw the ball rather than just your shoulder.
Yeah. It's a powerful tool video. We've actually got some stuff that we did with Louis in the yard at B3 just before Christmas, Eddie. I'll pop that into this week's skills as well.
Yeah, definitely. Shall we just move on to the batting one quickly?
Yeah, so
you've seen the video of Emily playing these shots here, and Jacob does it as well. If you just see where her hands finish at the end of the shot, she's just coming over, she's pulling across her body quite a lot. So the hands go, you know, so really simply on this one, we've got the videos of just if you're going to do what we call a check drive, and that's, you know, finishing looking down the blade of the bat, then really that will be a good check for Emily. Can she finish this shot looking down the blade of the bat? At the moment, it's pulling across her body, so her hands and her hips are rotating. You can see on her the lines on the back leg of her white trousers, they turn very, very quickly. All right. So again, can she just finish the shot? And ultimately, really, here, I suppose Emily's a little bit stronger with her bottom hand at the minute than she is with her top hand. So
to me, Eddie, it looks like she's too close to the wall. I think she's holding back because of the wall, you know.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. But I know what you say. She needs to follow through more, doesn't she?
She does.
I think she's just afraid probably just to send them hands out through the line of the ball, you know, follow that line of the ball.
So here's Jacob, Emily's brother, and you can see the finish of his shot there. It's that's exactly what we're talking about for Emily to try and achieve. You know, if you're going to check drive it, show the maker's name to the line that you want the ball to go through. And that drill there might be a real simple one to repeat for Emily to do a few times before she goes into hitting a drop feed ball.
Okay, let's just see what else we've got. This is a great little drill if you're on your own, I think.
Yeah, you like this one, Brownie?
Mate, it's the Jacob Connors drill, mate. He comes up to Otbrook on a Tuesday and Thursday, gets there early, mate, and he has about an hour and a half, mate. You know, just dropping that from under his chin. He's an absolute legend at it.
Okay.
Fantastic. Great drills there from Emily and Jacob Hughes, who play for West Bridgeford Cricket Club. Keep those coming. Brilliant. Jenna Fox sent this in of her son. Great setup.
I think the first thing to comment on this is what an amazing setup in the garden. I'll kick off with this one. Is if our fielders here kept coming round all towards the side where the young man's hitting the ball, it looks like we might be wanting to give a little bit of catching here. So I think really it's just, are we looking to defend the ball a little bit more like that version there, or are we looking to attack the ball for four? And it's just clarity of the shot that we're really looking to achieve, really. Is it a varied drill where we're doing lots of different ones, so there's attacking and defending, or is it just one thing that we're concentrating on? So that would be it for me. So
again, within this week's drills, I'll pop the back foot defence drill that we did with Brownie a couple of weeks ago. And we've also got a couple on there. I know they're indoors, but they are relevant to show the back foot forcing shot and the cut shot. Because like you say, he seems to be playing a hybrid of a shot, doesn't he?
He does. It's very difficult to contextualise it when we can't see the bigger area. He might have been perfectly placing it into a gap for all we know. But really, I think if you're going to do some drills in the garden during this period of time, and what we're trying to get people to achieve is volume and frequency of some real basic elements of technique. And if you can repeat them, then as Andy has said all the way throughout these, it's going to make improvement. Isn't it, Brownie? The outcome is you will improve.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he gets the back foot defence, the back foot punch, the cut shot nailed, you know, and then we can start and look, right, we've got all that sorted. Now I'm gonna put a little bucket in the corner, and that line there, I'm now going into the last 10 overs of my innings, and I'm just going to knock it down in the gap. I'm going to do a little bit of 20-20, if you like, and that would be perfect for that.
This is Jack Roach sent this in. You know, like you say, great commitment. Look at the weather.
Yeah. Good feeding as well. Great feeding from behind. And that's a skill in itself. So, you know, if parents or brothers, sisters can't do it overarm, you can get close and do it underarm like that. Or the player could even feed themselves. But to be able to come back a little bit and throw the ball harder, you know, you're going to get different reactions off the fence. Look, the ball's going to go in different places. There we go. A bit of a testing one there. You've got to get your bin out, haven't you? All right. We've used the bin in so many different ways for fielding and bowling and batting. And here, look, even over a bigger area of space, Brownie, you can see the outcome, can't you? The ball's going further, so it gives you more feedback.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. You know, and just a little tip. Now, he might be hitting into a goal. I don't know, because I can look behind him. He's got a goal behind him. And then that gives you a real narrow target. You know, when I do cone drills and static ball drills, we've talked all the way along about precision. So he's setting himself a little goal. If you haven't got a goal, maybe on that hard surface there might be a line, a straight line that he could put the cone on, and then really work on keeping that ball going down a straight line as long as possible. And that will give him the feedback that his back lift's going back straight, his hands are going back straight, with the outcome being the ball going perfectly down that straight line. But superb.
One final one, a mention for one of our older members, Tom Jones. He's a coach based in Cheshire. We've inspired him, or Ben Trevor Jones has inspired him, to start running for the first time in 3 years.
Brilliant.
So, well done, Tom. Listen, Brownie, thanks ever so much for joining us. What you got planned this weekend? Who have we got tomorrow?
Oh, crikey. Who have we got? Have we got Bournemouth tomorrow?
Bournemouth at home, 12:30. It must be on TV.
We're always on TV now, mate. We're on the up, aren't we?
I think that'll be a tough ask. But no, you have a great weekend, and we'll catch up next week.
Yeah, looking forward to it, gents.
Cheers, Brownie.
Cheers, guys.
Oh, that was great to talk to Brownie again.
Yeah, he'll like that mug as well, won't he?
He's a massive Forest fan, living in Derbyshire territory. So,
Brave. Blathers, let's talk about the survey. We're going to send a survey out to the Lockdown Club members. Really, when we came up with this, we wanted to create a community, didn't we? And to service players, coaches, parents, etc. during these times. So in order to sort of help that community to keep evolving, we're going to send a survey out, and really we want to find out from people out there, what is it they want a little bit more from us? We've got an idea. We mentioned it back in week 1. We've got stuff that we want to share with people, but we want it to be two-way. We want people to let us know what they want. And it could be certain categories. It could be certain, parents for a start, real key stakeholders in players' development, certainly young players' development. Let us know what you want.
The purpose of it is really, as you've said, so we can segment the audience so we know who we're talking to, so we can help them best.
Yeah.
For example, at my club, I'm using this with everybody from sort of 9-year-old softball players up to, knots over 50s.
Yeah.
And I want to know, I want to put some session plans together for pace bowlers, spin bowlers, batsmen, keepers, everything accordingly. So I'll share that with the audience, but we need to know what you are. And also, I know we've got quite a club coach following now. You've got some plans with them?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it'd be good to get people on a format like this to have some discussions as well. So yes, write in, email in, or put something on Facebook about, some thoughts that you'd like to see us develop further, or that you'd like to understand more. Yeah,
and also, parent education. You're going to do a webinar Zoom around that. So anybody who wants to be involved, we need to know what you need from us, because in case you haven't noticed, we are quite passionate about this, but we want to make sure we're delivering what you require in a quality product. So just let me have a quick look, if I may, at the survey, so people know what to expect.
Brilliant.
Can you see that screen, Eddie?
Yeah, got it.
Excellent. So short survey. Everybody who completes this survey will be entered into the Lockdown Club prize draw, which we'll do at the end of, or we'll do during week 6. First prize, as you would expect, a brand new B3 cricket bat, a one-to-one coaching session with a coach of your choice, where you upload video analysis, and we've got a tool which I think we're going to show that next week. In next week's show, the online coaching tool, Eddie.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, and third prize is a pair of batting gloves, obviously of the size and hand that you prefer. So we want to know whether you're a senior player, a young player, a parent or a guardian of a player, etc., a coach, a cricket club committee member, because I've got some stuff on coaching structure and fundraising that I want to share. What type of cricket do you predominantly play? So softball, hardball at junior level, senior hardball. I don't play because we know we've got some non-players in the audience.
Yeah.
What type of player you are? Top order batsman, middle order batsman, pace bowler, spin bowler, wicket keeper. Tick as many of those that are applicable.
I was going to say, if you're a young player, you might want to tick them all.
Well, exactly. Why not? And I said to a lot of my juniors, don't just ignore the wicket keeping because you're not a wicket keeper. Loads of transferable skills, and who knows, you might be a wicket keeper. And then when we do these webinars and masterclasses, there's a list there of the topics that we're thinking of. So let us know what's relevant. Again, tick as many as you like. But there's also a free note section at the bottom. So anything you think we want to cover, or you want us to cover rather, just pop it in that box and feed it back to us.
Absolutely, because again, we're sort of covering some areas which we know about and we've got experience in, but tell us what you want to know. You know, again, I don't want to repeat myself too many times, but we've got stuff that we want to share, but also we need to know from the audience what kind of areas they want covering as well. What information do you need, which you think you can get from the group of people that are working within the Lockdown Club? And it can be broad. It can be really, really broad. It doesn't have to be just cricket specific. It can be about adolescents, working with young people, coaching, small groups, big groups, working one-to-one. There's lots and lots of areas that we can cover because, we're working with people. It's a people-based, cricket's the forum, but we're working with people, and that's what makes it really, really broad. We're not working with robots. We're working with real people that have got lots of areas that will need covering, and it's not just technical. People get very drawn to technical areas with cricket. It's much, much broader than that. Might be about nutrition, for example. Might be about sleep. There's so many areas that if you think it will help you cricket, then just get in touch and let us know.
Eddie, thank you very much for your enthusiasm as ever. Been a great week. Have a good weekend, and we'll catch up next week. Yeah,
looking forward to it, Blathers.
Thank you to everybody for watching this. It's been a long show, but there was a lot to cram in, and I hope you think that it was relevant and interesting.
Yeah,
have a great weekend.
Get your surveys in. It won't take you long. Get them in.
See you, mate.
Cheers.